In 1973, a researcher named Constance Webb was conducting research in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, even though she was heavily pregnant. She was searching for a species of super spider, whose venom was believed to have the ability to cure various diseases. In her research, Constance was assisted by her colleague named Ezekiel. Ezekiel told her about a myth regarding a tribe of spider-like humans called Las Aranas, who had powers beyond ordinary humans in that region. Ezekiel believed that the super spider Constance was searching for might be the source of the Las Aranas tribe's power. However, Constance didn't care about the myth. She only wanted to focus on studying the super spider to find cures for diseases. Even though her belly was already large and she was close to giving birth, Constance continued her work. Ezekiel then returned to the tent. Secretly, he stole Constance's research notes. It turned out that Ezekiel intended to use the super spider's power for himself. Suddenly, Constance arrived and shouted that she had finally captured the super spider they had been searching for. Constance and her team were very happy. However, from behind, Ezekiel shot 2 of the researchers, killing them. Ezekiel then forced Constance to hand over the super spider, but Constance refused to give it up. Angry, Ezekiel shot Constance, causing her to fall. After obtaining the super spider, Ezekiel quickly fled. Moments later, a strange figure came to rescue Constance. It turned out that Constance was saved by the spider-like humans, the Las Aranas tribe. Constance was then taken into a cave that served as the Las Aranas tribe's base, where there were many super spiders. The tribe's leader, named Santiago, took one of the super spiders and made it bite Constance. A short time later, Constance gave birth to a baby girl whom she named Cassie Webb. Constance thanked Santiago for saving her child. But unfortunately, Constance passed away after giving birth. 30 years later, Cassie Webb, now an adult, lives in New York and works as a paramedic. One day, Cassie and her colleague, Ben Parker, were transporting a woman who had been in an accident. On the way, Cassie almost hit a young girl who was riding a skateboard. Luckily, Cassie managed to avoid her. Instead of apologizing, the girl just walked away. Long story short, Cassie and Ben finally managed to take the patient to the hospital. While resting, Ben invited Cassie to a baby shower for his sister, Mary. At first, Cassie refused because, as an orphan who grew up in an orphanage, she felt awkward socializing with others. However, Ben insisted because he and his family had known Cassie for a long time. As they were leaving, Cassie noticed a girl who wanted to visit her mother, the patient that Cassie had just brought to the hospital. Cassie then returned to her apartment. While walking, Cassie saw a girl being asked for rent by the apartment owner. However, Cassie ignored it and went into her room. Cassie then opened a suitcase left by her late mother. Seeing this, Cassie began to resent her mother for endangering herself by going on a mission in the jungle while heavily pregnant. What was worse, it led to her mother's death and made Cassie an orphan. The next day, Cassie and Ben helped a crash victim who was trapped inside a car at the edge of a bridge. Cassie got into the car and cut the victim's seatbelt. After Ben managed to pull the victim out, the car suddenly tilted and fell into the river, with Cassie still trapped inside. Cassie, who had fainted, suddenly saw a strange vision, like webs surrounding her. When she regained consciousness, she realized that Ben had already saved her. Ben then checked Cassie's condition. Ben suggested that Cassie go to the hospital because her heart had stopped beating for a moment. However, Cassie refused. A few moments later, Cassie's heartbeat returned to normal. Suddenly, Cassie felt like she was experiencing déjà vu. She found herself back at the moment when Ben was checking her. Ben once again suggested that Cassie should go to the hospital because her heart had stopped beating. Cassie replied that her heart was already normal. A few moments later, Ben was confused as he saw the monitor showing that Cassie's heart was gradually returning to normal. Meanwhile, Ezekiel, who had gained the super spider's power, was also in New York. Recently, Ezekiel had been dreaming that he was killed by 3 women who also had super spider powers. However, Ezekiel didn't know who these women were. Ezekiel realized that it wasn't just an ordinary dream, but a vision of the future that would happen. Ezekiel decided to kill the 3 women before they could kill him. One night, Ezekiel seduced a national security agency employee to gain access to advanced government technology that could access all CCTV cameras and identify everyone's faces around the world. After getting the access code, Ezekiel immediately killed the woman. A few days later, Cassie attended the baby shower for Ben's sister, Mary Parker. Mary's husband, Richard Parker, was out of town on business, so Ben was helping Mary with the shower. At the event, Cassie oddly had another glimpse of the future. Ben then came over and asked Cassie to hurry because there was a fire at the docks. Long story short, Cassie and Ben arrived at the docks and helped rescue the victims. While Cassie was looking at her colleague, Onel, she suddenly had another vision of the future. This time, she saw that Onel's car would crash and Onel would die. Terrified, Cassie immediately approached Onel. Cassie tried to stop Onel from driving, but Onel insisted on going because everyone else was busy. As soon as Onel started driving, a large truck suddenly hit his car. Cassie tried to save Onel, but Onel died in the end. It was exactly like the vision Cassie had seen before. In another place, using the advanced CCTV technology he had accessed, Ezekiel tried to find the faces of the 3 women he saw in his vision. Ezekiel ordered his assistant, Amaria, to track down the 3 women using the sketches he provided. After searching for a while, Amaria found the identities of the 3 women. It turned out that they were still teenagers and hadn't gained any powers yet. However, Ezekiel didn't care. He was determined to kill them before they got super spider powers and killed him. Meanwhile, Cassie sat silently at home, feeling guilty. She felt sad because she couldn't save Onel, even though she had seen the vision of what would happen. Cassie thought that even though she could see the future, she couldn't change it. Suddenly, a bird hit her window and died. But it turned out to be just another vision of the future. Curious, Cassie tried opening her window to prevent the bird from dying. And it worked. The bird came and stayed alive after Cassie opened the window. Cassie then realized that she could change the future. Cassie then went to the train station to attend Onel's funeral. Meanwhile, in another place, Amaria informed Ezekiel that the 3 women he was targeting were at the station. Ezekiel quickly headed to the station to kill them. At the station, when Cassie got on the train, she saw a girl named Anya sitting in the same train as her. Cassie then had a vision of the future where a man came and killed Anya. A few moments later, 2 other girls named Julia and Maddie also sat in the same car. Once again, Cassie had a vision of the same man killing Julia and Maddie. Cassie tried to ignore the vision and planned to leave. But from a distance, Cassie saw the person who would kill the 3 girls approaching. Feeling sorry for them, Cassie forced Anya, Julia, and Maddie to get off the train immediately. After they got off, Cassie saw Ezekiel, who was angry because his targets had escaped. The 3 curious girls then asked Cassie for an explanation. Cassie tried to explain that someone was trying to kill them, but they didn't believe her. Cassie then saw Ezekiel, who had transformed into a spider-like human, crawling on the roof and approaching them. Cassie urged the 3 girls to run, but Ezekiel kept chasing them. Cassie and the others finally encountered some police officers, but instead of helping, the police arrested Cassie, accusing her of kidnapping the 3 girls. Suddenly, Ezekiel arrived and killed all the police officers there. Cassie and the terrified girls then ran away. After they left the station, Cassie stole a taxi and told the 3 girls to get in so they could escape together. Cassie planned to take them back to their homes. However, the 3 girls said their parents weren't home, so no one could protect them. Cassie was forced to take them to a safe place. Meanwhile, an angry Ezekiel ordered Amaria to find out where the 3 girls had gone. Cassie led the 3 girls into the forest. There, the girls asked how Cassie knew that someone was trying to kill them. Cassie explained that she didn't know the person, but she had a vision of the future. Julia then mentioned that she recognized Cassie as the paramedic who had saved her stepmother. Anya also remembered that Cassie lived in the same apartment building as her. Meanwhile, Maddie was the girl who had almost been hit by Cassie while skateboarding. Maddie threw a stone at Cassie to test her ability to see the future. But Cassie explained that she hadn't fully mastered that ability. Maddie was then confused because the person chasing them could crawl like a spider. Hearing this, Cassie remembered her mother's research on the super spider. Cassie decided to go back to her apartment to get her mother's research book. Cassie told the 3 girls to stay in place while she left. Cassie quickly returned to her apartment. When she arrived at her apartment, Cassie removed the car's license plate so the police couldn't track her. In her room, Cassie read her mother's notebook about the Las Aranas tribe. The book explained that the tribe gained their powers from the super spider's venom, which allowed them to crawl like spiders. The Las Aranas tribe also had a 6th sense that could see the future, just like Cassie. Cassie was shocked to see a photo of her mother with Ezekiel. In the forest, a hungry Maddie persuaded Julia and Anya to go out and find food. They left the forest and found a diner by the roadside. While they were eating, Julia became interested in some young men sitting nearby. Maddie encouraged Julia to talk to the young men. A diner customer who recognized the 3 girls as those reported missing immediately called the police. Amaria finally discovered the location of the 3 girls. Amaria quickly informed Ezekiel. Back in the forest, Cassie was confused when she found that Julia, Anya, and Maddie were no longer there. Cassie then had a vision of the future where Ezekiel found the girls in the diner and killed them. Cassie rushed to the diner. Inside, Ezekiel approached the 3 girls. Suddenly, a car hit Ezekiel from behind. It was Cassie. Cassie told the 3 girls to get into the car. As Ezekiel was pinned down, he grabbed Cassie's hand. Ezekiel's touch released a deadly poison. Luckily, Cassie managed to escape before the poison could spread to her heart. After Cassie left, Amaria called Ezekiel and told him that she had discovered Cassie's identity. Ezekiel was shocked to learn that Cassie was Constance's daughter. In another location, Cassie rented a motel room to rest. Cassie told the 3 girls that she would take them to their parents in the morning. However, the girls refused. Maddie explained that her parents were in China because they had a business there. Julia said that she lived with her stepfather, who didn't care about her, so she wouldn't be safe at home. They also couldn't go to the police because Anya's father had died. Anya, who was an illegal immigrant, would likely be deported since she was under 18 and living alone. The 3 girls then begged Cassie to help them. The next day, Cassie told the girls that the spider-like man chasing them could poison people he touched, causing their hearts to stop. However, Cassie was still confused as to why she survived the poisonous touch. Cassie then showed them a photo of her mother with the man named Ezekiel, the one who was after them. Cassie explained that she was going to the Amazon rainforest in Peru to find answers about the spider-like man mentioned in her mother's notebook. Cassie asked Ben to take care of the 3 girls while she was gone. Cassie then flew to Peru alone. Long story short, Cassie finally arrived at the place where her mother had conducted research on the super spider. Suddenly, Santiago, the leader of the Las Aranas tribe, approached Cassie. He already knew that Cassie would come. Santiago then took Cassie to the place where she was born. In this place, Santiago would help Cassie see her past, so she could master her ability to see the future. Santiago then pushed Cassie's spirit into the river. Cassie traveled through time and saw the past when her mother was conducting research there. Cassie saw Ezekiel take the super spider and then shoot her mother. Cassie also saw the moment she was born. Cassie saw that when she was still in the womb, doctors diagnosed her with paralysis. The doctors said they had no cure for Cassie. Cassie's mother, who was a researcher, knew that there was a super spider in the Amazon rainforest that could cure all diseases. This is what drove Cassie's mother to search for the spider, even though she was heavily pregnant. She wanted to save Cassie. Cassie felt guilty because she had hated her mother all this time. It turned out that her mother went to the Amazon rainforest to save her. After regaining consciousness, Cassie asked Santiago how he made her see the visions of the past. Santiago replied that he did nothing. It was Cassie herself who did it. Because Cassie had super spider powers since birth, she could see both the past and the future. Even though she now knew she had these powers, Cassie still doubted whether she could defeat Ezekiel, who can crawl and release poison from his hands. Santiago told Cassie that her brain strength was far greater than Ezekiel's. Elsewhere, Ben's sister Mary told him that she was about to give birth. Ben, panicking, called an ambulance, but they had to wait for a while. In his panic, Ben decided to take Mary to the hospital himself, along with the girls, using his car. On the way, Maddie's face was caught on CCTV. Amaria immediately informed Ezekiel. Meanwhile, Cassie finally arrived at Ben's house. However, she didn't find anyone there. Cassie then had a vision of the future where Ezekiel attacked the girls on the street. In another place, Ezekiel ordered Amaria to hack the traffic lights, causing chaos and making it difficult for Ben to drive through. Suddenly, Ezekiel appeared. As Ezekiel was about to throw a grenade, Cassie arrived, driving an ambulance, and hit Ezekiel. Cassie then told the girls to get into the ambulance. She asked Ben to take Mary to the hospital while Cassie and the others distracted Ezekiel. Ezekiel got up and immediately chased after Cassie and the girls. When Ezekiel climbed onto the ambulance, Anya then quickly used defibrillator on him, causing Ezekiel to be shocked and fall off. However, the action also caused the ambulance they were in to break down. Cassie then had a vision of the future where they trapped Ezekiel inside a fireworks factory. After seeing the vision, Cassie immediately called for a helicopter to pick them up. Cassie then grabbed some flares to light a fire and led the girls into the fireworks factory. They climbed to the roof because the helicopter had arrived. When Ezekiel approached, Cassie lit the flares, causing the fireworks in the factory to explode. Cassie quickly urged the others to get into the roof while Ezekiel was busy avoiding the fireworks. But when they got to the roof, the helicopter couldn't land. Cassie and the others had to find a safe place to board the helicopter. Suddenly, Ezekiel appeared and threw fireworks, destroying the helicopter. Ezekiel then grabbed Cassie by the throat, poisoning her. Maddie tried to help, but Ezekiel threw her aside. Fortunately, Maddie managed to hold onto a metal bar. Anya and Julia also tried to help, but they share the same fate. Ezekiel said that now Cassie couldn't save the three girls. Cassie then focused her strength. Suddenly, strange webs appeared, allowing Cassie to create clones of herself. These clones then helped save the girls at the same time. Ezekiel, furious, struck Cassie, causing her to be thrown back. But Cassie got up again and lured Ezekiel closer to a giant billboard because she knew that one of the letters on the sign was about to fall. And sure enough, as Cassie had predicted, Ezekiel got trapped between the falling metal bars. One of the letters from the giant billboard fell and crushed Ezekiel. Ezekiel was finally defeated. Meanwhile, Cassie, who was poisoned and injured by the explosion, fell into the sea. Julia then swam and managed to save Cassie. Fortunately, Cassie survived. However, as a result of the incident, Cassie became blind. But with her powers, Cassie could still see very clearly, even into the future. Cassie saw that the three girls would become superheroes and help many people. They would become a very powerful team. The end. What do you think about this movie? Let us know on comment down below. If you enjoy this video, please like and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out our next movie. That's all for today. See you on the next one.
Yeah, I got what it takes. Made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight.